Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Thursday. Um, I am home today. Y'all see my scenery. Whenever you see the blue wall, you know I am at home this morning. I my son suffers from he has really bad allergies, so he had like a really hard night last night. And so was running a really small fever, like it was like 99 point, it was teetering the 100. So whenever that happens, like by policy of his therapy, where he goes for therapy in school, you have to keep them home, even though I'm like 99, like 99.8, you know what I'm saying? I get it though. It is to protect everybody from being sick. So please come on in, like, share, and subscribe. So I am able to come on my more desired time, which is 10 a.m. That is the more desired time that I have, or whatever. Doesn't always work out that way, but that is my desired time. So there is a lot. I have really did a deep dive early this morning. I've been up for quite some time this morning. So I was able to do a really big deep dive into what's going on, just with the Iran war, what's going on in the election, and how MAGA is responding, and also like the Pope being threatened. What do the Catholics have to say about this? Like, that's what I'm interested in. What are the Catholics going to say now that they know that Pope Leo has been threatened by this administration so bad to the point that he has canceled all of his trips to the United States? Like, this isn't like what? Like, good morning, everybody. It is just like, what? And then you have folks that pretty much helped usher Donald Trump into this win and supported all of these outlandish things. You've got them now scorching. I'm talking about balls to the walls on Donald Trump now. And we're going to look at that. We're also going to look at the coming midterm elections, what the numbers are saying. What does it mean? Is it a blue wave or is it a blue tsunami? Okay. Is it a blue wave or is it a blue tsunami? And I'm saying it's a blue tsunami. We're going to look at that. And I'm also going to give you guys a little bit of a lesson, a little bit of a history lesson today about the Middle East and like where they are land-wise. I want you guys to get a better picture of where they are land-wise and why what's going on and what we did is like batshit crazy. Like, why is it insane? Why was it asinine? Why was it backwards and not forwards thinking? And why this does not put America first. I'm going to show you guys that, how that all how the framework of all of this, and then what are the American people saying now, since we have now been and started this choice war. What is it? What are Americans saying? We're going to break it down from political parties to then, a holistic view. We're going to see what these things mean. So if you are here, like, share, subscribe, drop down in the chat, leave your comments. Let's chit chat about it. Ask me questions. Let's make this extremely, extremely interactive. First thing on our list, I want to show you guys, I want to do a comparison really quick, right? I want to do a comparison as what it looked like the last day, Joe Biden's last day of that administration, and what it looked like as of April 3rd, the current administration, right? So we're looking at the prices. The first one is the barrel prices. Good morning. Good morning. The first thing is crude oil, right? Look at the barrel prices and how they affect our regular. This is all about energy, right? Look at how we were in the 70s. With Trump, we're over 100, right? Look at what regular gas was at 313 average as of April 3rd, $4.09 average. They're showing gasoline futures. They were projected to go lower about $1 underneath Biden. And now the futures are looking, it's lowering a little bit, but not that much considering the bombing has commenced. That little ceasefire was short-lived, which I told you guys that. Electricity, look at what electricity is doing. And this is where we were, right? The economy had begun to, good morning. The economy was turning around and was stabilizing until we got this maniac in this administration that we have in office now. So that's just a snapshot at what we were looking towards and where we are now. Now, of course, those numbers will fluctuate, probably on the higher end underneath Trump, just due to the series of events. The market was short-lived gains because this morning it opened up back in the red. So it was short-lived. And I told y'all he plays with the market because in his mind, the market is the whole economy. But I tell people all the time, the market does not pay for people's bills. The market does not keep people employed. The market does not lower our prices of milk, bread, and eggs. Okay? So that's where we are with that. Now, remember, I've been telling you guys about the draft, right? Remember that, right? I've been telling you guys about the draft. And I've been telling you guys this for a few weeks now about this draft. Well, this just came out that automatic registration for the United States military draft to begin in December. Remember, I said, get your house in order for my parents who have kids that are in public schools. Watch out, because they are going to be able to your child will now automatically go into the draft when they become a senior in high school, unless you have a disability of some sort or your child is in private school. Unfortunately, barren, 9-foot tall self is not going to be in the draft. And we know he's not. None of the Republicans' kids are going to be in the draft. None of their grandchildren are going to be in the draft. But they want everyday, good morning, guys. They want everyday Americans' kids to be in the draft. I told y'all, I've been telling y'all this. When y'all start seeing this stuff, be like, Kay was right. Kay Fitz said it. I've been telling y'all this. I've been telling y'all what they're trying to do, and it was in Project 2025. For those that didn't believe, Project 2025 was a real thing. This was in Project 2025. They want to force our seniors straight into the draft. Because what does that do? That expands the military to a large amount. Mind you, that's kind of archaic thinking now that we have AI, now that we have technologies where boots don't have to be on the ground. We can use drones, right? We have better ways of fighting wars, but they want to go back to yesteryear where they're expanding the military, but yet they don't want to take care of the military, because we know that Trump signed an executive order to pretty much disband the VA loans for housing, which now over 10,000 veterans' homes are in foreclosure. So yeah, they want to expand the military, but then don't want to take care of our veterans, right? Just like that sergeant's wife was being held in ICE. And if it wasn't for Senator Kelly that stepped in to get his wife out of ICE detention, right? These are the things that I'm talking about. They don't give a damn. They don't give a rat's ass about what's going on. As the America, remember I keep saying MAGA, 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 MAGA. And why they voted, how they voted, and their thought process. Remember I said it had nothing to do with policy, right? And I saw this post, and this is absolutely correct. MAGA aren't drawn to Trump because he is smart, competent, or Christian. They are drawn to him because he tells uneducated, insecure, angry people that their stupidity, ignorance, and racism are actually strengths. This is what they do. And so because this is what they do, yes, son. Hi. Thank you. This is what they do. This is the problem this is why we are where they are. The GOP has done a masterful job at making insecure, uneducated, angry people think that they are superior than those that are happy, thriving, and educated. They do a masterful job at that. It is all about messaging, messaging, messaging. I have said that because when you look at Donald Trump's rallies, who do you mainly see outside waiting in line? Toothless, uneducated folks who don't even realize the policies that they're saying. All they're screaming is protect our Second Amendment right, the right to bear arms. All you see is, oh, he's going to take us back to making America great again, putting our vets first. These are the things that they're saying when we know that his policies do nothing of the sort. Right? But they have a really great way of convincing them that their outlook on America is so much far superior, and that is it's just crazy. They're sycophants. And then they convince them that this is a Christian man, right? And we already know he's far from that. If you were here the other day with me on here, you would see that he didn't even put his hand on the Bible when he was being sworn into office. None of that stuff. So, like, forget about it. Like, it's, yeah, like, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. This administration is a dumpster fire. Such of a dumpster fire that Secretary Kennedy, the one with the raspy voice, the addict, the one that said he has sniffed coke off of the most dirtiest places, now is coming soon with a podcast. This man is coming with a podcast, but not addressing the measles outbreak that are killing kids. Yes, you heard it right. Measles that hasn't been a thing for decades, right? Measles, where there is a vaccination so that children don't get this virus, where he convinced people to no longer give their children the measles vaccination at birth. And then we've had widespread of outbreaks in school districts. South Carolina was one of them. Texas was another one of them. This man doesn't care. This is the same man that said Tylenol is to blame for autism. Not the ingredients in Tylenol, but Tylenol itself. Which, if I was Tylenol, I would have did one hell of a lawsuit towards them. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I would have did one hell of a lawsuit against them, because what's crazy is Tylenol, Aleve, Advil, all of them have pretty much the same ingredients. They just have a different name and their pill looks different. So yeah, this is the guy. This is the guy that, his kids are vaccinated. This is the guy whose own family does not even own him. They don't want anything to do with him. He's not educated. He's not anything. He's an idiot. He's an idiot with a shaky, wispy, raspy voice. Okay. He just is. Like, it just is. Like, And yes, Kaios, this will be funded by the taxpaying dollars. This will be funded by the taxpayer dollars. And I'm glad you said that, Kaios, because you know what else is being funded by the taxpaying dollars? Okay. You know what else is being funded by the taxpaying dollars? Ride with me, y'all. Ride with me. Okay. Yeah, because he put it out from the department of whenever the White House makes an announcement using their official page, that means taxpaying dollars are going to pay for it. That's really what it means. That means taxpaying dollars. That means, taxpaying dollars are going to pay for it. And it's so funny that we're talking about this because, hold on, let me show you guys something. I want to show you guys this. Y'all remember this woman right here? Y'all remember this woman right here, Kristi Noem, who had a $70 million jet remodeled to make sure she had a queen size bed in there with a bedroom in there. So her and Lewandowski, her little sex side piece, could do whatever while they're flying the skies. The same one that got that military contract off of a business that was established 11 days before the contract was awarded. Mm-hmm. Her. So remember, she had got that jet, that $70 million jet. Well, the administration said they are keeping that jet. And now they are giving it to the first lady of porn stars, Melania Trump, to use. Mm-hmm. Our taxpaying dollars are now not only funding all the other crazy stuff, but the $70 million jet that had a bar in it, $70 million, that had a bar in it, a bedroom in it, all of the things, right, is now being given to the first lady porn star, Melania Trump, for her to use. What? So yet our taxpaying dollars is funding something else, luxury, for this administration. Meanwhile, we have people who can barely pay their light bill, barely pay their rent. They're having to get 2 and 3 jobs. They can barely afford enough groceries for their children. Parents are going hungry because they're feeding their children first. All the things. This is crazy. And let's not forget the $300 million White House ballroom, right? And I saw this post and I couldn't agree more. Americans don't want a $300 million house, a $300 million White House ballroom. We want to be able to afford healthcare, rent, and groceries, period. Full stop. And, reports have now come out. Okay. Reports have now come out that, remember, Donald Trump said that he was going to be using American steel for this. Remember that? Remember he said, oh, we're rebuilding the White House and it's America first and we're using American steel. We're using American workers. We're using all of this, right? Y'all remember that? Do y'all remember when they started demolishing, having demolition practice on the East Wing? And everybody was going crazy, like, you can't do this because by law, you must have congressional approval to do any type of infrastructure work to the White House, right? Not that they pay attention to anybody's rules, but listen at this. I I can't stand this man. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on. No, that's not it. That is not it. I thought I had it queued up, but I don't. Sorry for that. But basically, he was saying that he pretty much can do what he wants to do. I will show you this stuff right here. I will show you what the White House looks like now. This is terrible. Like, this is trash. So the steel that he is now using, good morning, is, come to find out, is steel from another country. Y'all heard that right. Good morning. Good morning. Y'all heard that right. This America First president, the steel that he claimed he was going to use from America to help the American economy has now been founded. He claims it was donated. Y'all know what that means. He claims it was donated by another country. Okay. It was donated by a Luxembourg-based firm. But remember, he said that the tariffs would offset the cost of this ballroom, right? That's what he said. Remember, he said that the ballroom was valued at $37 million. Well, it is now, this is another slush fund project for him to line his pockets, because over 400 million was donate $400 million worth of steel. And I'm doing air quotes because we ain't seen that steel yet. But this is now what the White House grounds look like. And this is a project that is never going to get complete. Very much so in line with most of his projects that he has that never gets completed, because he doesn't know how to do business well. Donald Trump has actually bankrupted America. He has actually bankrupted America. The same way he bankrupted all of his businesses, same thing he's doing here. Same freaking thing, right? He is so incompetent. He's delusional too. Let's not forget that. He's very delusional. Extremely delusional. And he has delusional people around him, right? He has some of the most delusional people around him. I want y'all to watch this clip. He has, now, see the difference between Obama supporters. We supported him, but we didn't support him to this level. You didn't see flags on trucks. You didn't see people mobbing people. You didn't see January 6th happen. You didn't see people trying to steal elections. You didn't see the level of hate that was perpetuated from his campaign, right? We never saw that. We saw bumper stickers, the normal things, right? Normal stuff. We saw bumper stickers. You saw the yard signs, T-shirts that were made. You saw people, doing the groundwork, having conversations. You saw town halls. You saw all of these things, right? This is what we saw. Normal campaigns. But I've never seen folks willing to die for this man, willing to just watch this. Just watch this. Because I can't even explain it to the level of craziness this is. But just hold on for me. I want you guys to see this in real time.
Whether Republicans win or Democrats win, if we do not show the American people that the elections are going to be fair and they're going to be satisfied with the outcome, no matter whether Republicans win or Democrats win, you are going to have hell to pay in this country. It's coming. And I'm not so sure that's not what the Democrats want. It's an embarrassing situation. For me, as a taxpaying American citizen, for the last 35, 40 years, it's embarrassing to know that we have less control over our election system than we have on anything else. And if we do not show the American people that the elections are going to be fair and they're going to be satisfied with the outcome, no matter whether Republicans win or Democrats win, you are going to have hell to pay in this country.
Guys, this man is talking about this SAVE Act, Save America Act. You know, the voting they're trying to be able to control so that they can rig and win, because they know the moment that the House and the Senate flips, they are going to impeach Trump and we're going to see trials rain down, right? We're going to see massive amount of investigations, rightfully so. But this man just threatened the American people. And pretty much telling them to put pressure on their congressmen, their senators, stating that if they don't pass this Save America Act, it's going to be hell to pay. Now, imagine if that was a Black man or a Black woman or a Hispanic man or woman or a Muslim man or woman standing behind the podium saying these words right here. Hell to pay? So you are threatening people that there's going to be hell to pay. That is political retribution, which is illegal, okay? This is illegal. These people are so sick behind this man that they are lashing out threats on TV, on national TV. National TV, because they cannot run an election off of their voting record, off of what they stand for, off of what they have supported. They cannot win off of that. Where's the affordability? It is none. Where are lower gas prices? There is none. Where are lower groceries? There is none. What about healthcare? There is none. They cannot win off of their own record by hitching their wagon to this administration. They don't have a spine. They don't have a backbone, right? They are so afraid, and I don't even believe it's really being afraid. What they're afraid of is that their money is going to dry up. They're afraid of he is going to come after them and send the FBI on them and sick his, army that he's built around him on them, to come up and drudge up all kind of like charges, because really, in theory, they know they can't win these cases. But what they want to do is to embarrass folks and make them lose money by hiring high-powered lawyers and make them show up to court. They want to put a stain on their reputation. That is their game, right? But these old-ass 1940 birthers, because that's when most of them were born, want to sit here. And because they can no longer run the country underneath the Jim Crow legacy, because they can no longer impose their racist, sycophant, sexist, misogynistic ways anymore, we're not standing for it. Because they see that America is now more brown than it's ever been, that brown and Black people are far more educated than we've ever been, right? Because they see that, they're trying to do any and everything they can. And what they want to do is they want to stop the vote. They want to trick you out your spot by making draconian voting laws where your license, you have to have several forms of identification. And specifically because women vote at a higher rate than males do, right? They want to make it so hard for married women to vote because they're saying that your last name must match your birth certificate and or passport. And they're not making it cheaper to get a passport, okay? They're not making it cheaper or easier to go even get a state ID, because in the state of North Carolina, the waiting list is 6 to 8 months. Also, the price. If people don't have enough money to fill up their gas tank, what makes you think they have enough money to put $125 to the side for a passport? What makes you think they have an extra $25 to the side to order their birth certificate? Let's just call a thing a thing. Don't let them trade. But we got these old 1940-year-old Jim Crow folks that were raised up in the Jim Crow era gonna threaten us with a good time, telling us it's going to be hell to pay. Now, just imagine if this was Congressman, and you see right behind him, who's standing right behind him to the left. That's y'all people over there in Florida. That's y'all representative over there in that corner over there with that red tie. Always, he's the snake that he's always been. But just imagine if that was a sea of black men talking about it's going to be hell to pay. They would be censoring. Censorship would be happening. They would be stripping all of their powers in Congress. They would be doing the work. They would be taking them, removing them off of committees. They would be doing everything. But these folks are deranged. And they want to say we have Trump derangement syndrome. No, these folks have Trump derangement syndrome. Hell to pay? Like, are y'all okay? No, they're not okay. They are not okay. They're not okay. But you know who else is not okay? MAGA is not okay. Okay. MAGA is not okay either. And MAGA is crumbling in front of our very own eyes in a way that we kind of knew was going to happen, right? But I never knew it was going to happen to this degree. And we all know this saying, what a clock is right twice a day. A broken clock is right twice a day, right? So I'm going to show you guys some things. I just want to, I want you guys to hear this. Okay. I do. Marjorie Taylor Greene is putting belt to ass, and I don't like her. Don't come over here. You don't have no home over here with us. Just know that. You with us. You don't have a home over here with us. Just know that. We don't care. We don't care about you, Marjorie Taylor Greene. However, comma. Okay. When she's right, she's right. Just take
hell out of the Middle East. We had no business there to begin with. And the truth is, look, you may have supported President Trump for 10 years like I did, like you have, but this is not the same man. This is not the same man that we supported, which Doge was one of the most popular things, along with border security, mass deportations, Doge. These were in America First, lower inflation, lower the cost of living. Those were the core components of the campaign. That, and my God, gut the deep state. That was what we wanted so bad. Hold people accountable for the love of God.
Hold people accountable for the love of God. This is what she's saying. Hold people accountable for the love of God. Right?
MAGA was supposed to be. That is what we promised. And that's what I promised alongside President Trump and many others on the campaign trail in 2024. And, you know, I have a 100% conservative voting record, and I voted with President Trump 98% of the time when I was in Congress. And I always try to remind people, you know, the reason why I resigned is President Trump called me a traitor because I pushed to release the Epstein files and then said he was going to primary me like he's doing to Thomas Massie right now. And I just thought that was so unfair for my district.
So the reason why she resigned was because he called her a traitor. Not because his policies actually hurt Americans, not because of his hateful rhetoric, not because of his misogynistic and sexist statements that he said while on campaign, not because he really doesn't have Christian values. He's married 3 different times, and we already know that his ex-wife took the stand and said that that Trump ripped her hair out of her head. Okay. Not because any of that, not because that Donald Trump is actually in the Epstein files, right? Even though she said release them, because he called her a traitor. And this is why we can't let folks like this come to the cookout. This is why we can't let folks like this come to the cookout, because a zebra stripes never change. What it was is that she knows, full stop, that the investigations are coming. I'm glad she's calling him out for whatever reason, but we already know what this is. She knew that she has to rebrand herself. So eventually, when she wants to dip back into politics, because she's coming back, don't think that she's gone. When she wants to dip back into politics, she needs her image to be cleaned up. And correct. What does she mean by this not the same man? This is exactly who this man has always been. And this is why we can't open up our arms and say, oh, come over here and join us. Oh, they're finally seeing the light. No, they're not. What they're seeing is that their very racism is expensive. And that the cows are coming home. What is it? The roosters are coming home, the cows are coming, whatever the saying is. She knows that the racism is expensive and that she wants to live a normal life. Pam Bondi is not going to be able to live a normal life because she has been booted. That means she no longer can live on a military base. She's not going to be able to go out to eat in peace. She's not even probably going to be able to be successful in the private sector because your reputation has been stained. And also, we do know, I was reading somewhere, that they have reported her and filed a complaint with the Bar of Florida, the Bar Association in Florida. And when you file a complaint, depending on the type of complaint that you file, she will have to then stand in front of the bar and explain why she lied under oath. Explain why she did not do her job. Again, they're getting money right now, but there is a life after Trump. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, the bleach, bad built body, Barbie, whatever Jasmine Crockett called her. She saw it and said, you know what? I need to save myself. And so now she is trying to rebrand, just like Candace Owens is trying to rebrand herself. And Candace Owens with the fried ends. Baby, we don't care. We will never forget that you and Kanye West wore a t-shirt that said, White Lives Matter. So please don't fall for the BS. They're only saying sorry now because their reputation after their life after Trump is depending on it. Okay. Their reputation after Trump is depending on it, right? It is depending on it. And I'm just going to go through the series of folks who are now changing their stance on so many different things. Because Megyn Kelly, the one that loves to talk about Black women, the one who loves to call out Black women and what we should and shouldn't be doing, the very same one that, said Drewski did whiteface, which there is no such thing as whiteface. Okay. That said whiteface. What if we start doing whiteface the same way that they're doing blackface? But we remember she's the one that did blackface. Let's not forget who Megyn Kelly is. Okay. Let's not forget who Megyn Kelly is. But again, understand what's at stake, guys. Understand what's at stake. What's at stake is their reputation is so at stake here that they are trying to save it by any means necessary. And we cannot be fooled, right? We cannot be fooled. But let's just take a look. Look at how MAGA is not okay. And this is why I'm saying MAGA is not okay. They're not okay because they don't know which way to go. They can no longer defend the things that not only are they doing, but that they're saying. Keep this out.
Trump watched us learn it. And so what led Trump, at 79 years old, to sit in there in that situation room when Bibi Netanyahu was seated as an equal?
Yeah.
Trump didn't even sit at the head of the table. Trump sat at the side of the table and Bibi was across from him as an equal in the American Situation Room. What led him to sit there and buy what that guy was selling, hook, line, and sinker?
And y'all heard that. Bibi Netanyahu was in the Situation Room with Trump. He was in there with all of, mind you, the experts on Iran. They have no experts of how to negotiate in foreign affairs. They fired all of them. They fired all of them a week prior to him deciding to go into this choice war. So we have no experts, people who have given their life to study the Middle East. They have no one who has relationships with foreign ministers, ambassadors. They don't have anybody in place right now because they fired all of them that could have prevented all of this. That so-called ceasefire deal, we never had it on paper. That's why I told y'all yesterday it was a bunch of malarkey. And I showed you why it was a bunch of malarkey, because guess what? Israel is not real. I call them is not real. Is not real was still bombing Hezbollah and Lebanon and said that they weren't a part of the ceasefire. And Iran said, yes, they were. Over 200 people have died in the course of 24 hours. Also, is not real has their people going over there forcing people out of their homes and telling them they don't belong there. They are stealing people's homes in broad daylight. Doesn't that remind you of something? And that's why I always say, is not real is not the Israel of biblical times. Since when is it okay to force people out of their homes? Since when? You're stealing people's homes. It's not real, okay? Are killing civilians in broad daylight. They're starving them out in broad daylight. Look at Gaza. They were stopping humanitarian aid from coming over to Gaza. That's godlike? Really? Is that godlike? But let's carry on.
When every other president was able to see through that liar. What was it? Because he was told.
Now Bibi Netanyahu is a liar? Oh, okay. Y'all following me here? This is Megyn Kelly. Now Bibi Netanyahu is a liar? Okay, we've been through this. Welcome to the party.
The next day by our own top advisors, from the chairman of the Joint Chiefs to the Secretary of State to the Vice President, that these are lies and that these objectives are not going to be attainable. Don't believe him. We might be able to wipe out the Ayatollah, not regime change, Ayatollah. And we might be able to decimate some portion of their missiles and their military. Okay, that's true. But the goals as stated by Trump when we actually did pull the trigger were all over the board. And to this moment, he's pushing the BS claim that we affected regime change. No, we didn't. It's the same regime, just different players. There isn't somebody more moderate in there at all. We have no reason to believe that. In fact, it looks like the Iranian Revolutionary Guard is in control now, which is far more radical. And the fatwa that had allegedly been issued by the Ayatollah on developing nukes is gone. Iran is more powerful economically. It controls the strait and now is demanding the lifting of all sanctions against it. And what Trump did with that 10-point plan was go from Monday saying, no, not good, to Tuesday saying, very workable, we can do it, as a means of saving face to bail off of his insane threats about annihilating an entire civilization. So I don't know how we got here, Piers. I'd like to know just as much as anybody else, but all I can think in my head, based on what I've read in the paper, is we got here thanks to Bibi Netanyahu, Lindsey Graham, and Mark Levin. And ultimately President Trump. That's not to take agency away from the president, who was bamboozled. I don't know why. He was too weak to say no. He was too gullible to see through the lies. One way or another, he allowed himself to be pushed into this insane conflict.
My God, today, like I keep telling y'all, a broken clock is right twice a day. She is very correct in that. Bibi Netanyahu is a liar. Okay. Bibi Netanyahu is a liar. And good morning to everybody that's coming in. Please like, share, and subscribe. Bibi Netanyahu is a liar. Lindsey Graham has blood on his hands. Lindsey Graham is in South Carolina urging his constituents to send their kids into war. But now Lindsey Graham is upset because of the 10-point plan that Trump, I will vote for Donald Trump, accepted. He doesn't like it anymore. While he's in Disneyland blowing bubbles, he wants people to send their children into harm's way to potentially to never return. Okay. MAGA is losing it. Good morning. MAGA is losing their minds. MAGA is losing their minds. Okay. MAGA is going crazy. They're like, we didn't sign up for this. We don't want this war. We don't want this. But we have to continue to remind folks, you did sign up for this. You did sign up for this. And we're gonna look at, follow me here, guys. Just follow me here. Here go another one. Okay. Another one who feels like, oh, it's a lot of buyer's remorse, y'all. It's a lot of buyer's remorse. Just follow me here. Just follow me here. Just watch this. Just watch this. Listen.
Three times the size they were before. That means heart failure. He does look sick. Babble and, sound like the brain's not doing too hot. And so we just cut bait on Trump and we just mobilize against the Democrats. This is not funny. This is not good. But he's gone. And that's it.
Okay. I mean, I agree with what Alex Jones said there. It's just that the messenger might not be the best person to provide the message. The whole thing about he looks sick, he keeps babbling, he doesn't seem like he's well. Okay. But anyway, it's very clear that Trump is losing support. And I think he's losing support for good reason. Now it turns out that some of the MAGA loyalists are finally jumping ship. And we'll get to more of that later. But first, I can't help myself. Here's a little bit more from Alex Jones.
Trump is in free fall. And that means we're in free fall in the midterms. Unless Republican candidates say, we are real America firsters. We like Trump in the past. We're sorry he's obviously had an aneurysm or something or a stroke. But we're not Trump. We're going to stop the Democrats and their plan for defunding the police and open borders and transgenderism and pedophilia and men and women's sports and giant tax increases and gun confiscations. And we just say, we're the original populist Tea Party Republicans that got Trump in. Just because he's been betraying us, we're not. That is the clear way out of this. We have to say, too bad Trump ran off the edge of a cliff. I don't think he's coming back from it. But triage him, isolate him, and explain, we're not him and we're not the Democrats 10 times worse. We're not the Democrats 10 times worse, and we're not him, and we're morally against this, and blowing up Iranian water supplies he's talking about, war crime any way you cut it. Put pressure on him not to do that. And just continue on the moral, proper way to behave, not stick our finger in the wind and see which way it's blowing.
Yeah. And this is why we can't really buy in too much to MAGA, because even in that message, it's still rooted in propaganda. He's sick. He's this. He's been sick. His ankle's been big. He's been babbling, but y'all put him back in office. This is the same man that just said, what, a few days ago, I showed y'all that he killed bin Laden a year before 9/11, and he put it in his book. This is a man who sat there when Japan's prime minister was sitting in the White House, and they asked him, were you going to inform Japan about, planning to bomb Iran so that they could be prepared, because Japan is an ally, right? And he said, no. I would say, what about Pearl Harbor? Wait a minute, what? This man said, no, I would say, what about Pearl Harbor? And that he wanted to surprise everyone. This man has been batshit crazy. This man has been off of his rocker. This man can't even walk in a straight line. We watch how he wanders. He's all, y'all ever seen him come off of the airplane? And, he's walking down the carpet and he's just kind of like going this and that. He never can hold a concrete conversation. The only thing he wants to hear is praise. He's falling asleep while the cameras are rolling. And they used to love to say Sleepy Joe. But I tell you one thing, for me, I don't know about you guys, but for me, I prefer Sleepy Joe, because with Sleepy Joe, we could all sleep at night and not have to wake up to something. Every morning we wake up to something else. Every morning we wake up to something else. MAGA is not okay. MAGA has lost their minds. MAGA, listen, they're crazy. And I'm going to show you how far gone MAGA is for real, for real. This is a crash out in real time. I got to show y'all this, and then we're going to move on from this. But when I tell y'all, like, what? When I saw this, I could not believe it. When I say I couldn't believe it, I couldn't believe it. Okay? I could not believe this. Now, this is Tumerville. This is Tumerville, right? Tuberville, sorry. Listen to what he is saying.
Nominate somebody else, and I go back. If he chooses to nominate somebody else, and I go back to being the DAG, that's an honor. If he chooses to nominate somebody else and asks me to go do something else, I will say, thank you very much. I love you, sir. So I don't have any goals or aspirations beyond that. If he chooses to nominate somebody else and I go back to being the DAG, that's an honor. If he chooses to nominate somebody else and asks me to go do something else, I will say, thank you very much. I love you, sir. So I don't have any goals or aspirations beyond that. If he chooses to nominate somebody else and I go back to being the DAG, that's an honor. If he chooses to nominate somebody else and asks me to go do something else, I will say, thank you very much. I love you.
Thank you very much. I love you, sir. I don't have any other aspirations. Wait a minute, what? This is how sick they are, how far gone they are. if I'm no longer, he decides to replace me as the DAG, I will go back to doing whatever he wants me to do. And I will tell him, thank you, sir. I love you. What? Just let that sit with you for a second. Like, what? These folks have really lost their minds behind a man who doesn't give two good morning, who doesn't give two flying about him. I love you, sir. They are worshiping this man in a way that is so disgusting and disturbing. It is utterly disgusting and disturbing. Okay. It really is. And you know what else is disgusting and disturbing? This is also disgusting and disturbing. This man has said pretty much, I will read this to you guys. All U.S. ships, aircrafts, and military personnel with additional ammunition, weaponry, and anything else that is appropriate and necessary for the lethal prosecution and destruction of an already substantially degraded enemy will remain in place in and around Iran until such time as the real agreement reached is fully complied with. If for any reason it is not, which is highly unlikely, then the shooting starts bigger and better and stronger than anyone has ever seen before. It was agreed a long time ago, and despite all of the fake rhetoric to the contrary, no nuclear weapons and the Strait of Hormuz will be open and safe. In the meantime, our great military is loading up and resting, looking forward actually to its next conquest. America is back. First and foremost, the strait really never closed. It was always open. Okay. Now Iran is imposing a $2 million tax and telling them to remove their sanctions, which, guess what, gives them the financial capability to do whatever they want. And this is what this man is talking about. The military is loading up. This is someone who does not know anything about the military, how it runs, how it works, how it does anything. This is the one with the nuclear codes, guys. Just think about that. This man has a nuclear codes, but he is tweeting things on Truth Social like that. And this is why we need to vote people in office through the midterms. And we're going to now, well, let's just stay right here for a second. This is what he's talking about, y'all. Okay. This is what he's talking about. Do you see where Iran is? Do you see their land mass? You see where Iraq is, you see where Afghanistan is, and you see where Pakistan is, right? You see where Syria, then you see where small is not real is located. And we see Egypt, Sudan, we see the continent of Africa. We see the Red Sea. We see the Persian Gulf. We see all of this, right? We see this. I'm going to give you some welcome to geography. Follow me here, okay? This is what we see. Do you see why Iran and Iraq are too different? Because look at the land mass alone. This is why, good morning, everybody that's coming in. This is why Iran is not to be played with, and why former presidents said, let's just put something on paper, because we know they don't care. If you don't give a damn, we don't give a. That's the way Iran is. Okay. Now I want you to see something else. You see, everything that is in green is pro-Iran, right? You see, everything is red is anti-Iran, right? Then things that are in purple are a wild card, depending on who is involved. And if you see the little black circles with the like ammunition in it, those are flashpoints. Those are places that have conflicts with other people, which is why they don't have a color at all. Like, so Yemen has issues with a couple of other countries. Lebanon has issues with Israel, right? And you see how close Lebanon is with Israel, but Lebanon is backed by Iran. Follow me, y'all. Follow me. I'm teaching you something today. Saudi Arabia is anti-Iran front. However, Saudi Arabia is like, we don't want no parts. We know that Iraq is cool with Iran. We know that Syria is cool with Iran. And we know that that little part of Yemen is also cool with Iran. They like, hey, we over here in case you need us, right? But we see Qatar, right? Or Qatar, as they like to call it. Qatar could go either way, but there is a naval base there. You see Kuwait, there is a naval base there. You see UAE is also anti-Iran, which is why Iran is going right over there to them, because it's not really that far. Because see, what Iran is doing is they're using the waterways to their advantage and sending over drones. And you see, poor little Israel is squeezed, is not real, is squeezed between Egypt and Jordan. And you got Lebanon sitting at the top of them, with Syria sitting at the top of them, and Iraq is on the other side of Jordan. Right? You see these things, right? And this is why Is Not Real is not winning, because they don't have the land mass. But what they're trying to do is to convince folks that Iran is so demonstrative. Iran was minding their business, mind you that. But they're so demonstrative because what they want to do, what Is Not Real wants to do, is they want to expand their land mass. They want to take over Lebanon. Okay. They want to push themselves into these places, and they want to take people out of their homes. They want to bomb it. They want to disintegrate whatever is there so that they can then move in and take it over the same way that Russia did with Ukraine, even though Ukraine said we ain't backing down, and Ukraine is holding pretty strong. Because now we actually need Ukraine. But Ukraine said, hey, if you want our help, you're going to have to give up a couple funds to help defend us against Russia. But what we also know is that Iran is being backed not only by China, but also Russia is letting them know where exactly American bases are, where their jets are flying through, where their submarines are sitting. They're letting them know that. And you know why Russia knows that information? Because the disaster in chief has diarrhea at the mouth and already sold our country his first administration. And this is how they know. And this is why is not real, is not the Israel of biblical times. Understand? Y'all following me here? You know, this is just nothing but a geography lesson. Again, look how close these things are together. Pakistan has now told Israel, we don't want no part of this. Y'all need to come to a peace treaty. Afghanistan is saying, no, we don't want no part of this because we know how Iran give it up. And we're neighboring borders, so it's easy for them to get to us. And this is why it was never a good idea to go to war with Iran, because Iran's landmass, for starters, supersedes Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Iraq. Saudi Arabia wants 0 parts. Yemen, parts of the small little area of Yemen is leaning towards Iran. Syria is leaning towards Iran. Y'all following me here? I hope y'all understanding why this was not a really good idea. This was never a good idea to begin with. It's all about land and resources. And Bibi Netanyahu is trying to stay his nasty ass out of jail. And this is the only way he can stay out of jail, by having a war. And this is why it is important for these elections to do what it needs to do. This is why it's important that you need to check your voter registration and make sure they did not purge you off of it, and get your asses out there in the midterm. If they have early election, go vote early. Or some people like to vote same day. They like the rush. I used to, but I vote early now. And this is why it is imperative that we start putting people in office that are not afraid to put belt to ass. Okay? Listen here.
And we're going to hold them accountable. We're going to call out their BS every single time. And when we do, if I hear one more chicken hawk who's never served a single day in uniform, sitting in a gold-plated office in DC or in Mar-a-Lago or anywhere else, try to talk tough, having never seen what war is about, I'm going to lose my mind. And we're going to hold them accountable. We're going to call out their BS every single time. And when we do that, the American people will certainly be with us, because that's where they wisely remain.
And that is how we need to start talking about this thing, calling it out. We need for folks to get in front of that mic and say, hey, these people have never served a day in their life. How dare they tell us that they're going to do an automatic draft? How dare they tell us they're going to send our sons and daughters out there with no real plan? You're setting them up to die. No real plan. But because of this disastrous war that they have now, right? This disastrous war that they've got, this choice war that they have gotten us into. I just want you guys to see what's going on over there. This disastrous war that they have gotten us into,
Beirut, including this residential tower in downtown, which has been leveled to the ground without warning. Authorities have called on doctors and nurses to go to hospitals immediately, which are overwhelmed with the number of injured people.
17-year-old Asa stands in the ruined stairwell of his home in central Beirut.
This is my house. This is.
Were you home?
Yes. This 8 people. Family, 8 people in the room.
Are they okay?
Yes. All yes. Good.
The family were drinking coffee in their living room when Israel struck without warning. They ran downstairs before the second one hit. Through what used to be the kitchen window, the total destruction of the neighboring building is clear. It was a residential apartment tower.
I slept peacefully, thinking that there would be a ceasefire and that the war might end. Everyone slept.
Isa and his family don't know what they'll do now or where they'll go.
My home is destroyed and everything's gone.
They will join the more than 1 million people already displaced here in Lebanon. Hundreds of families will be mourning their dead in what has been the deadliest day of the war so far. Israel's strikes continued into the evening and rescue services worked through the night. This 2-week regional ceasefire could be extremely dangerous for Lebanon, as Israel takes advantage of the pause in Iran to concentrate its firepower on its northern neighbor. Hezbollah said earlier on Wednesday that Lebanon was included in the agreement, in fact, at the insistence of Iran, and the Iranian Speaker of Parliament in a statement confirmed that his country considered that agreement to have been violated. Israel, in blowing up Lebanon, risks or potentially aims to blow up the regional ceasefire itself. Heidi Pett.
There it is. But because of this choice war, we're seeing stuff like that happen, right? And now we're hearing calls for the 25th Amendment and impeachment. Here's the public stance as of April. The red supports impeachment, the blue opposes. Overall, 52% of Americans are in support of impeachment, and I do believe that that will rise. 84% of Democrats, 55% of independents, and only 14% of Republicans, but we kind of know why that's like that. But the fact that independents and Democrats overarchingly want to see this man impeached should tell you something, and should have woken the GOP up to let them know you ain't gonna win this. Because right now, what we're looking at, this right here are the Senate seats that are up. See, all Democrats have to do is hold the numbers that they have and add 4 more. It can't be a 50-50 split, because if it is a 50-50 split, then JD Vance will have that 1 vote, and that will put a 1 vote majority. So we must have 51. We must have 51, so we have to gain 4 different seats. And this is what we're looking at. These are the hot races that we must pay attention to. So if you're in the state of Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, Texas, Michigan, or Maine, wake up. Because in Michigan right now, the Dems hold a 2-point lead. That's narrow. That's very narrow. But they've got to come out and vote like they've never voted before, because yes, your vote does count. North Carolina, Roy Cooper is going to win that. I can tell you that as a resident of North Carolina. We don't play about Roy Cooper. Roy Cooper is up by like 14 points now. So they might as well cancel Christmas. Oh, shaky Susan Collins, who always says this is disturbing. I have to think about these things. She's getting mollywopped right now. She is trailing about 7 points, which she should. And oh dear Texas, I didn't like that y'all didn't get my girl Jasmine Crockett in, but we're here. They are showing early signs of Tellerico having a very narrow lead in support there. Georgia, you have John Ossoff, who is very good and very skillful and very masterful. It is pretty much a dead heat there. And Florida always votes against their own interest. I don't know why. But Florida, yeah. Moody is leading anywhere between 3 to 11 points. But we do know we can pick up 4. We can pick up 4 places. We know North Carolina is in the bag. I believe Michigan is going to pull out. I believe Maine is going to pull out. Somehow, some way, if Texas can get it together and pull that out. And Georgia, they love John Ossoff, so I do think he will be able to pull that out right there. It will not give us a super majority, but we will have enough to do what we need to do. Okay, we will have enough to do exactly what we need to do, which is impeach, prosecute, and convict. These are the things that we have to do. And right now, let me show you guys this interactive map that I watch a lot. And it's a great tool for everyone to kind of go to. It's set 27 to win. And it gives you an interactive map. And it kind of shows you right now what it's looking like for the House. It's looking like for 2027, it's looking like the Democrats will have 212 and Republicans will have 205. That's what we're looking at here. We're looking to pretty much win it. There are still about 8. This is the House. There's still about 18 seats that are up, kind of like whatever. But there are toss up. But if you see here, like, it tells you what's going on where and how this measures out. And also what I want you guys to also see in this map, right? I want you to see in this map, how in the hell do we allow the places that are the least populated control so much? Because not a lot of people live in these areas. Just not a lot of people live in these areas. The populated areas is where you see a lot of blue at, of course, Texas, and, you know, up and down the East Coast. These are the heavier populated areas. In our Midwest, this area right here, we see that those are populated areas. But why in the hell do these folks have so much say-so when it's only, some of these areas only have a population of about 2,000? Like, I just don't understand that for the life of me. And this is why I think the electoral, not even I think, I in fact believe the Electoral College should be removed, because it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't add up. How is it that states that support red states, California, New York, these economic places that support, you know, red states, are being held back because of these red states? Like, I just don't understand it. And I do think, like, so if you're voting for these laws, then don't benefit off of our money, our economy then. Because if we gave people a red card, a blue card based upon who they voted for, right? Then if this is what you voted for, these are the policies that will directly affect you. I guarantee they would then see how yes, the Republican Party claims they're about fiscal responsibility when they only add to the debt. They never decrease the national debt. They never make things cheaper. If you look around, every time we went into a recession or a depression, it's been a Republican administration. Always has been. It's just been that way. Anytime we've had economic growth, it has been because of a Democratic administration. Go look it up for yourself. You will see it clear as day. Okay. And this is why voting is so imperative. Really is. Now, my last topic of the day was a head blow. It almost took my edges out this morning. And thank you guys for supporting. Thank you guys for showing up, liking, sharing, and subscribe. Thank you guys for the super chats, the gifts. Thank you guys for all of that. I really thank you guys for coming in here every day with me, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays. I appreciate it. Now, lastly, remember I said MAGA is going crazy and losing their mind. Last but not least, this guy. This guy right here is the one who threatened the Pope. You heard it. This is the man. Get a good look at him. This is the white man that threatened the Pope. Okay. Threatened the Pope. And pretty much told them, you can get it too. Imagine in a world where the Pope is so beloved, is a sacred person, one of the most sacred worldly figures that we have, is being threatened. And was told America has the military power to do whatever it wants in this world under the Secretary of War for Policy, Eldridge Colby. And his colleagues told the Cardinal, per the Free Press, the Catholic Church had better take its side. And so the Pope has now canceled all visits to America, the White House, all of that great stuff. And I don't blame him, because every time J.D. Vance meets with somebody, they end up dying. But they are now threatening the Pope and the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church, who J.D. Vance claims that he is Catholic. Telling them they better take its side, meaning they were threatening him because of what he said about bombing Iran, what he's been saying about being anti-immigrant, and how they've been treating immigrants, how they've been treating the less fortunate. Melania is Catholic too. Correct. What is the Catholic Church now going to say? What are the priests going to say? What are our people of the Catholic faith that probably voted for this administration is going to say, now that they are telling them you better pick our side or else? These folks have lost their mind. They went off of their rocker. They are not sane. All because he is telling them that this is not Christianity, that peace is not war. This is not how you love thy neighbor. They are now threatening the Pope, who has now, can you blame him, canceled all activities. All of them. Correct. I got one for you, DC Purple Diva. If you go into the Catholic history, their angels are black. Their artifacts are black, and they're black for a reason. And I'll let people dig into that deeper. But if you go into history, this Pope is from Chicago. But yet, folks said that this administration is of a Christian faith. This is the same administration that one half of Mary voted for, that Chile voted for, that Amber Rose voted for, that Waka Flocka and his mama voted for, which I find crazy. That Mayweather has signed up with, that Kanye West wore the hat that says "Make America Great Again" and the t-shirt that says "White Lives Matter." Nicki Minaj came out and said, oh, he's trying to persecute people. We're against the persecution of Christianity. So the Pope doesn't matter. We see that everybody is silent now when it comes time to speak out against this. JD eyeline wearer Vance, where are you? We know Melania Trump don't care because guess what? She getting a check. She's getting a check to stay. That's all she cares about, and she got her citizenship illegally, but and they had an anchor baby. Barrett. But what do our folks of the Catholic faith now going to say? What are they going to say? Paula White, where you at? You just was praying, talking about he's God-like. Is this God-like? All of the ministers in the White House praying, the blasphemy of it all, call themselves praying over God, praying over Trump, and then Carol Lyon comes out to the white press briefer and say, did you hear that? Did you hear them praying, using it as a prop? These people have lost their mind. But yet, trans, immigrants, women are the problem. They're so worried about trans folks. They're so worried about people having babies and what women are doing with their bodies. They're so busy mocking our disabled families, people, kids. They're ripping away healthcare in real time. They're making it pretty much impossible for people to retire at a decent age where they still can enjoy life. They are rounding up people now to automatically be drafted. They want to steal your vote. They're making it impossible for you to make enough money to shift the class economically that you're in, to go from the working class to the middle class, from the middle class to the upper middle class. They're eradicating that ability to have lateral movement. They have dismantled the Department of Education. Our veterans are losing their homes in record alarming rates. People's cars are being repossessed in alarming rates. Folks can no longer refinance their homes. Our streets are disintegrating right in front of our very own eyes. They are producing lab cell-generated meat. This is not America first. This is not winning. This is not any of that. This is a very sad state. We are in a state of emergency. We are. When you have these billionaires who are controlling the masses, it's only like 6, 7 of them that are controlling everything else and forcing everybody to be a part of the working class while they sit back and they reap the benefits. While Trump is over here having his bunker airplane test driven so that when the shit is on fire, he has a place to go. And we're all down here, fighting for scraps. They're infecting our foods. Correct. Seedless anything is not good. Make sure you're soaking your fruits and vegetables before you're even eating it. You'd be surprised what's coming off of it. This is sick. And again, I'll keep saying this. Americans don't want a $300 million White House ballroom. We want to be able to afford health care, rent, and groceries. Full stop. Safely. We want to be able to be in a society where we can all exist with the same measure. No one is no different than the other. Everyone has the same opportunities. Everyone has the same living wage. This is all we want. But instead, they have thrown us into survival mode. And it's going to be like hell to climb out of it. It really is. It is really going to be like hell climbing out of it. We are absolutely the laughingstock. The laughingstock. We are the laughingstock of the world. Because even over in Japan, y'all, they're even laughing at us over there in Japan. Okay. And let me show you what they're laughing at. Look, just look at this.
Trump always chickens out. Trump always chickens out. Trump always chickens out.
We are the laughingstock. We are the laughingstock of everything. And you've got Iran over there who is having a field day with trolling Trump. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them because now they are finding out that Iran was
the last breath we've been doing it. Hey, Orange Pig, America first. Oops. Oh boy, that was the slogan you sold. But Bibi's pulling strings and your vote is getting cold. We're not just fighting for Iran. Hear this clear. Your people reached out to us. Yeah, we got the DMs here. If one nation's gonna stand against the Epstein regime's fear, it's us till the last breath. We've been doing it for years. We're standing here for everyone your system ever wrong. They've known all along the enemy was always you. The real threat wore a suit and sung a patriotic song while selling their own citizens and calling it strong. Stealing from your own people, making them bleed, taking tax dollars just to fund your own greed. They waking up to the lies, the illusions of burst. You screamed America first, now you put losers first. Make Israel great again. Your government is run by pedophiles. They ordered you to die for Israel. They ordered you to die for Israel. They lied to you all. We saw everything. If the public ever saw the files, man, the planet would shake from the level of filth and the crimes in your wake. No wonder Jeff called you the worst, you degenerate snake. You claimed you never set foot. You went 40 plus times. You sick bastard, you cooked. We stepping up to the plate. Epstein regime gotta fall. You fake Christian elite sacrificing the ball. Demon, you talk real big for a man with tiny hands. Tiny hands, tiny things, tiny everything. We saw everything, and word got out. The smallness kinda expands. No wonder all those rage tweets, all those desperate rants. Overcompensating bully, always causing a scene. You said you love losers. Well, look at your team. Your government is run by. Your government is run by pedophiles. They ordered you to die for Israel. They ordered you to die for Israel. They lied to you all.
And there you have it, folks. I couldn't have summed it up any better than that. There you have it. That's all I have for you today. Thank you for coming to Politics in Plain English, where we talk about the current political events, why they're happening, what they're happening, why, when, and how. That's pretty much how we sum it up over here. Please make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe. Please hit that like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend and tell a friend. And we will see you next week. Same place, around the same time. And make sure you keep your eyes open and watch what is going on, okay? And until next time.